plant.
Welcome to Hanford. Appreciate you coming to look at the progress of the plant and evaluate where we're at for our milestones.
Of course, I was very keen to see what you guys are doing here. May I introduce Francisco Ramirez? He's the mayor of Hanford.
Pleasure to meet you. Pleasure to meet you.
Metal, and this is the team.
We're going to be going on a tour. We'll review the milestones first, then go out into the factory and track the construction progress.
Sounds great.
Cool.
Let's go.
Let's go.
So we have everything we need from a facility readiness perspective. In the background over here, you can see the parts racks. We have quite a few of the parts already on site. Behind you is our batteries. So we have enough to start production when the rest of the parts get here towards the end of the year. It's another milestone of ours.
Very cool.
FF91 is a revolutionary product, and we are going to build this car here in our Hanford plant starting next July. And we have a very clear plan for doing so. Milestones on the way, and Matt, maybe you can walk us through.
So if you look on our timeline, IPO in July, milestone number 1, complete installation of pilot equipment for our pre-production build area, and start of construction in the paint shop, which is our long lead item. We have completed that milestone as of today. Second milestone is complete the work necessary to get a certificate of occupancy, which clears the path for our pre-production builds. Right now we're limited to the number of Faraday employees we can have in the plant. There's somewhere around 25 total between us and the contractors. Once we get the certificate of occupancy, we'll be able to bring more workforce in and start the necessary requirements from a training perspective for our pre-production builds. Milestone 3 will be start the foundation for all the other remaining areas, which is body shop, propulsion, finishing the warehouse, and then ultimately the vehicle assembly area where we're standing right now. Milestone number 4 is start the pre-production builds for final engineering validation and certification. We're doing that at the end of the year once the training is complete. Milestone number 5 is start all major mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, what we call MEP systems, and that's to support the equipment installation. We'll show you on the tour where about 80% of our paint shop is already on site. Once the construction and paint starts, our finishes, we put the installation of the paint equipment in, and the other integrators for propulsion, battery, and vehicle assembly also comes in and starts installing the equipment. So number 6, complete construction and equipment installation in final vehicle manufacturing areas. Equipment's installed, we prove it out, get our final acceptance testing, integrate the operators into it, and start our ramp up. And again, as Karsten mentioned, our final milestone is start of production in the summer of 2022.
So Matt, this milestone number 2, the certificate of occupancy, seems to be a very important milestone for us. What do you expect? When are we going to reach this milestone?
Yes, we got probably 90% of that work is complete, Karsten. The fire marshal is here testing the sprinkler system this week.
Okay, now let's look a little bit in what we are doing here, what kind of plant we are building. There are people out there who are comparing what Tesla is doing in Shanghai with what we are doing here. And this, with all respect, is comparing apple with oranges. We are building a luxury low volume production here, and Matt, maybe you can give us some insight about the difference.
So we put together just a couple bullet points to explain the difference between the high volume production and luxury low volume production. Starting with the facility setup, it takes longer to ramp up the facility and automation. Significantly more automation is harder to install and then prove it out. There's a high investment for facility setup and equipment prove out. On the assembly side, it's focused on high automation and a large footprint needed in the production area and the material handling area to store all of the parts. Moving over to the luxury low volume, it's largely based on manpower, a lower investment for the facility setup, and then a focus on craftsman training. Our craftsmen will build the technological advances and the luxury into our vehicles, and so we can compete and be better than Rolls-Royce, Bentley, and Lamborghini. Focusing on the auto assembly side, it's the focus on luxury and craftsmanship, significantly smaller production footprint needed, and then we're going to do a hybrid approach. We're going to automate where necessary to start the foundation in the body shop, highly automate in paint, getting the quality processes in, supplement it with manual craftsmen, getting that paint shop where it needs to be, and then also in the assembly area, again, with those craftsmen. Heavily focused on the craftsmanship of our vehicle. With the conclusion of that, what I'd like to do is get everybody in their vests, hard hat, and safety goggles, and we'll go out and look at the construction progress and paint.
Great.
So just from a building cars perspective, we have our fluid flows over here. It's kind of the final part of the process. The vehicle will be built up on these carts in various stations where you see hoists. Anywhere there's a hoist, we can go up and down, put all the parts on. The vehicle will come over here to get an alignment, and then it's basically into the quality check for the pre-production builds only. This is, again, a temporary build area for that. When we're done with the pre-production builds and our pre-series builds, this again transitions into a pre-delivery area. You can head out into the construction area and review the progress.
Cool.
And so this is where our spray booth will be, where we will spraying the vehicle. Standing behind me is the first part of the process. It's a very important process in paint, and that's the E-coat. The body comes in from body shop, it's cleaned, gets the electrostatic coat on it, and that's the foundation for corrosion and cleanliness. So from a standpoint of the layout that we showed you earlier, we are standing basically right here in front of these E-coat tanks, and that's inverted. We had a limited amount of space, trying to keep everything in 1 million square feet, so we invert the body to go through a 7-stage dip tank. As I alluded to earlier, 80% of our paint shop equipment is already here. In that back corner, the stainless steel large tanks, once the concrete is cured, those will be installed. So 80% of the paint shop is already on site. As soon as the facility and the MEP is ready, we just begin the installation of it. Okay, very excited to present the first body in white for our pre-production build. It's on site. We're going to walk in our spray booth that's already ready for us to manually paint the vehicles. In the industry, we call it a BIW, body in white. So it's basically the vehicle welded, SPRs, however structurally, from a design standpoint, the vehicle is made. Everything is done here. You'll see the rivets for the assembly parts. Our vehicle is a little bit unique because our fenders are actually painted separate. Also will be in our paint shop. And as you can see, this is what a vehicle looks like in the sheet metal before it's cleaned and prepped and ready to be painted. We can walk to the vehicle, so we have one on a trunnion that is tilted so you can see where the battery goes in. Okay, so that concludes the walking portion of the tour. Again, on behalf of all the leadership team and the employees that we have in Hanford, we thank you for coming. Karsten, thank you for coming and evaluating where we're at from a milestone perspective.
Great support.
And open door, anytime you need to bring some people in, give us a little bit of head notice. We want this to be a community type of facility where we can bring in officials and track our progress. We're an open book.
We will always have a station on site here where you can do pre-orders for the car. So everyone you bring in here can pre-order a car.
So as the City of Hanford, have they been great to you?
Yes.
Awesome. Yes. And we hopefully we keep that open communication, that dialogue, because you're an intricate part now of the City of Hanford, and you're creating jobs and you're creating a technology atmosphere that is going to be booming within the next year or so. So I just want to say, on behalf of the city, I want to say thank you to everybody that's here, because for your vision, for your insight, for coming to Hanford, it's greatly appreciated.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.